Hello and welcome back to my channel, Craft Time by Casey. I am Casey and these are the bracelets that we will be making today. I am mostly using beads and a few of the findings from the Potomac bead boxes that I've received in the past couple of months. I know that Potomac Beads is kind of mostly known for their bead weaving, but you can definitely use some of their products for bead stringing as well. And that's kind of what I'm highlighting today. So if you are curious as to how these bracelets came about, then stay tuned. All right, so let's get right into it. I will quickly go through what I will be using for each one of these bracelets. So I already have a bunch of findings kind of dumped out here on my bead mat, and I will not be using near this many, but I have them kept in these containers. So I know that I will be using these, so I just kind of dumped a few of them out of each container. Which, by the way, if you would like to see maybe how I organize my stash of beads and findings and whatnot, leave a comment down below, and I can, definitely put together a video of how I organize all of my, just all of my supplies, and I can kind of show you how I have everything set up. Again, if that's something you're interested in, just leave it in the comment down below. So as I said, I dumped a little bit out of each finding that I know that I will need. I have 3 magnetic clasps, I have jump rings, wire guardians, crimp tubes, and crimp covers. I will also be using beading wire. I have 49 strand bead along beading wire in the color Bright, and I usually get the 100 feet from Amazon because I just go through it way too quickly. I think the largest I've seen in the store is 30 feet. So I usually order this from Amazon. It's that color silver, but it's listed as the color Bright. All right, and the tools that I will be using, I'm going to be using 2 sets of chain nose pliers. I will be using a set of fine point cutters, and I will also be using a set of crimping pliers. All right, so here we go. Here is how I start off the wire when I make bracelets. So I'm going to put on a crimp tube, a jump ring, and a wire guardian. Put it through one end, bend it back through the other end, and then I slide up the jump ring to make sure that jump ring is in the middle of the wire guardian, and I put the crimp tube through both ends of the wire, go through that crimp tube and pull that up. And then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, close that wire guardian just a little bit. Gotta be super gentle. All right. Then I'm gonna pull that wire just a little bit. I have the wire so that it's nice and snug. Then I'm gonna get my crimping pliers. All right, and I'm gonna go in that second divot. Make sure that wire is separated. Go in that second divot. And you have a nice taco shape just like that. Turn it to the side. Go in that first divot. Smash it down. And then I like to go on that last part of the crimping wires where it's flat. And then just give it another smash so it's nice and tight, just like that. Then I'm going to hold it by the jump ring. Take one of the crimp covers and just place it right over the top. And then turn it over. Just like that. Then I take my chain nose pliers and I smash it. And then that crimp cover gives that false impression of the first bead, which is awesome. So that is how I begin each bracelet. So for each bracelet, if you need additional help on how to start it, you can certainly back up the video to this particular point, but you will always have this first one if you need that extra help. So now we're going to look at the order of the beads. All right, so for this bracelet, I will be using these kind of elongated, faceted beads that I received in one of the Potomac bead boxes. And then for the center components, I will be using these rondelle beads from my own stash. I want to say I got these at Michael's. And then I will be using these spacer beads that have the almost flower or leaf kind of engravings around it. And then these spacer beads that are also kind of have that flower component, but they're kind of thick as far as being round spacers. So you can see how that looks. Okay, and I already have it divided up on how I want each side, and then of course the center component. So here we go. I'll show you how I'm going to do the first few. Bead, spacer, bead, spacer, and then when you get to the other side, you want to make sure that tail goes up through the beads and the spacers. So that is how each end is going to look. So I will continue with this pattern until we get to the center component. All right, so there is this end of the bracelet, and now we're going to start this center component. So each one of these round rondelles is going to be circled with a bead cap facing up, rondelle, bead cap facing down, and then we have the small round spacer in between. And then bead cap facing up, rondelle, bead cap facing down, small round spacer in between, then bead cap facing up, rondelle, bead cap facing down. So there, pull it down a little bit. There's that center component. At this point, we're going to do this exact same thing on the other side. So I will meet back up with you and we will close it together. All right, so here we have the opposite end, which exactly matches the beginning of the bracelet. So now we're going to put on a jump ring a crimp tube, and a wire guardian. Put it through one end, fold it back through to the other end. All right, make sure our jump ring is up in the wire guardian, and make sure both ends of the wire are through the crimp tube. Just like that. All right, so I'm gonna have it where the end of it goes through the last couple of beads. So I will pull it through just like that, and then hang on to the wire guardian or the jump ring. All right, so now I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, very gentle hand, close that wire guardian just a little bit. Now I'll take my crimping pliers, go in with that second divot, crimp, have that taco, go in with the first divot, smashes it just a little bit. Now I'm gonna go in with that flat point at the end of it, give it one final smash so that it's nice and secure. So now I'm hanging onto that jump ring, and I take that crimp cover, place it right over the top of that smashed crimp tube. Then I can turn it over just like that. Then I take my chain nose pliers and smash it. Just like that. All right, now I'm going to take this tail, my fine point cutters, get up there as close as I can, cut off that tail. Now I'm going to take my nails, kind of put it in between there. So there we go. So now I'm going to add my magnet clasp. All right, so I take one side of the jump ring with one of my pliers, chain nose pliers. So I have one side of the jump ring with one of my chain nose pliers. I grab the other side, open it. Then I take my magnet clasp and attach it just like that. And then close it. So there's that end. Attach the other side. Same process, both sets of chain nose pliers, open it, attach the magnet clasp, just like that. Close the jump ring. So there we go. There's our first bracelet. There we go. So for me, Magnet clasps are kind of my go-to when it comes to bracelets because it's easiest to connect, either magnet clasps or toggle clasps, but there we go. So on to the next one. So for this next one, we have already started it off. And again, if you need help on how to start it off, you can go back to that first bracelet. The stones that we will be using, the natural stone mix. I love that none of them are exactly the same. Even the ones that are similar definitely have different color patterns on them. And I'm pretty sure when I open them in the Best Beadbox XL opening video, I'll link that down below. I'm pretty sure when I opened it, I said like I can picture this as a bracelet exactly as it is, without adding much to it. So I love this mix of beads. I will be using these plain silver round spacer beads in between. And I will also be using these bead caps, smooth flower shaped bead caps in between. So here we go. I'll do a few bead cap facing up, bead cap facing down, spacer. Bead cap facing up, stone, bead cap facing down, spacer. I'll do one more, bead cap facing up, stone, bead cap facing down, spacer. On the other side, you want to make sure that tail goes back through the last few beads, bead cap, spacer. So this is going to be the pattern. And I will be selecting these natural stone beads at random. There's going to be no color pattern other than I love that they're all different, and I'm going to pick one up as I get it. So I'll meet back up at the end. All right, so here is the final bracelet, and I have already connected both ends to it. So once again, if you need help with the closing of it, you can go back to that first bracelet. It is the exact same process. So this bracelet is just about 7.5 inches. And once again, with the magnet clasp, it's my go-to because it is just the easiest to close when it comes to bracelets for me, and either that or toggle clasps, both. So here we go, on to the last one. All right, we are on to our third and final bracelet. And most of these did come from the Potomac bead box as well, from different months. Now, I have these faceted rounds. It's almost like they're dominantly blue, but there's different parts that would be almost like a rainbow spectrum color. Very, very pretty. That's going to be the centerpiece. I have it in my head, the center portion of the bracelet. Then we have these large teardrop shaped beads, these 8mm teardrop beads. And these small faceted, almost rondelle shaped beads. And then also from the Potomac bead box, these very small bead caps. They have almost a flower shape, but they are very small, very thin, but they add just that little touch. These bead caps from my own stash have a very similar pattern to these small ones, which is why I selected them. These are going to be around the centerpiece of the bracelet, and then these are going to be along either side. Then I also have spacer beads from my own stash, flat round spacers, and then the small round silver spacers. I'm gonna go flat round spacer, faceted, smooth round silver, and on this side I want the teardrops facing this way, and then on the top of the teardrop I want the bead cap. So when I get down to the other end, I want to make sure that tail is going through the last few beads. All right, so this is the pattern, and we're going to repeat it 3 more times, and we'll meet back up when we get to the center. All right, so here is the first side of the bracelet, and now we will do the center piece, center pieces. So we're going to have larger bead cap open up, blue faceted round, bead cap face down, all right, so it's gonna look just like this, and we're gonna repeat it 4 times. All right, so there we go. There are those 4 beads in the center. We've got the small blue faceted round in between each one. Okay, so now we're going to do this exact same thing that we did on this side on the other side. The only difference on this side is that the teardrop beads are going to be facing the opposite direction. That way the teardrops are all facing that center section. So we'll meet back up at the end. All right, so here is the final product. And as you can see, I've already closed it off. If you need that extra help on how to close it off, then you can always go back to that first bracelet. It is the exact same process. So like I said, with the other half of it, the only difference is that the teardrops are facing this way. So both sides, they're facing in towards the center, okay? So here is the final bracelet. All right, so here are all 3 of them, and I will set them up on my display so that you might be able to see them just a little bit better. All right, so here are the 3 bracelets that we made today, and as you can see, they are, very unique, very different. But they could almost go together as well. I mean, I guess it just depends on your style. I happen to love the way that they came out. I could definitely see wearing them together or, individually. Usually when I wear bracelets, I either wear a multi-strand bracelet or I stack bracelets. That's more my style. And I think these turned out great. So if you liked this video, and you want to see other videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Give me a like and leave a comment. What do you think about these bracelets? How do you think they came out? I love reading your comments. You guys are so kind. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about these. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.